as Vancouver School District teachers get ready for the first day of class. Teachers in the Evergreen School District are still on strike.
I like the deal that our union sorted out with the district over in Vancouver, and I really hope that that things start looking a little brighter at the bargaining table here in Evergreen.
So what's keeping Evergreen from reaching a deal? It depends which side you ask.
So it is salary. That salary, and then the additional state professional development day, when that would be scheduled, were the only two things that were open during this contract negotiation.
It's really not about the money. That's a process question. I'm not going to answer process questions. It really is just that they've not offered the deal that's going to get the agreement done.
The union wouldn't talk specifics of the latest contract proposal. The district, though, released numbers showing a first-time teacher would start around $51,000. A top teacher would make around $100,000. That's about an 8.5% increase on the low end and a 12% increase on the high end from what they're currently making. In comparison, teachers in the nearby Vancouver School District reached an agreement where a new teacher would start around $50,000 and top out around $95,000. Those numbers don't include health and retirement benefits. I asked one Vancouver teacher about the difference in pay for another district in the same city.
I think that other districts will be looking for slightly higher raises because they can't change other parts of their contract.
Evergreen staff said they've passed along all of the money from the state for teachers' salaries. The union says that's not true.
We have put every single penny we've gotten from the state into this proposal and then taken some from local levy funds as well to supplement.
That would be awesome. If they did that, we'd be done. We'd have already taken that agreement. That hasn't happened.
So you're saying there's more money from the state that they could pass along?
Negotiations here in Evergreen will continue tomorrow. For more details about the strike, just head to our website, kgw.com. Back to you.
Lindsay, thank you. So here's where things stand tonight. Evergreen is one of 4 districts in Southwest Washington still on strike, and they've all canceled classes for tomorrow as negotiations continue. That includes Battleground, Washougal, and Longview. Today, Vancouver teachers voted to approve a deal with the district. Kids there will start school tomorrow. We're keeping an up-to-date list of schools that are open and closed on kgw.com. You can get that information. Also on the KGW app, it's free in your app store.